Hi everyone and welcome back. This is Into the Dungeonverse, episode 23. This show is brought to you by NewMinds.tv and Masters of the Dungeonverse. All of our episodes are available for you to watch whenever you would like. So those are available on NewMinds.tv and NewMinds.tv. They're also available on our Facebook page, already sorted into a playlist for you. So if this is your very first episode of Into the Dungeonverse, we are actually hopping into our interactive quest today. So if you haven't started our interactive quest, my recommendation for you is to go back, pause this video for now, come back to it later because they'll always be there for you to go through at your own pace. Go back to episode 6, and that's actually where our journey begins. Here, there are some episodes where we do different things, so you'll hop around, but episode 6 is where our interactive quest starts. So there's lots of chances for you to gain skills, abilities, and information about the story that we're going into today. And since these are all available, there's no reason for you to start on this one today. Go back and start at the beginning. If you really just have to be here today, grab a piece of paper, 20 out of 20 on top, and we'll see. But it's going to be a little bit harder without some items and things. But of course, you can join in. So today is our interactive quest. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday is our interactive quest. On Monday, we have we start the week with a story time, and then on Friday, we have our role-playing resources. So you'll be seeing that soon. But today is Wednesday, and we are hopping right back into our interactive quest, which is actually taking place in Star Wars at the moment, right? So, without further ado, let us begin. You know that our methods of randomization are coin toss, standard die like D6, six-sided die that you find in Sorry and Yahtzee and your board games around the house, the D20s that are used in Pathfinder and Dungeons & Dragons or other D20-based systems, or you can use a randomization table which we have available for you in the description. Our difficulty table, as always, you may pause, take a picture of this if you want to create your own games. This is a very simple randomization method or difficulty method that can be used with varying things. All you have to have is a coin to flip, and that'll work. Even if you don't have a coin, take a button and mark on one side. There, now you can do a binary coin toss. So that's our difficulty table available for you to use if you would like it. Then the randomization table that I talked about, we have this PDF available in the description. If you want to print this off, you can just toss an item on it, and whatever it lands on will determine the result of the action that you're trying to take. And so you can print that off, or you can just pause it and draw your own right now. Make sure to keep track of what's happening to your characters in your character sheet. If this is writing it down with all the little details, great. If this is making a little comic, great. If this is just writing down the items and skills that you got, that's fine. But we do a lot in each episode. You gain a lot of different skills, knowledge, information. So you'll want to write it down because, believe it or not, you will forget some of it. So make sure to record. And then we do also have a character sheet template available for you. But make your own and really kind of get into this. This could even be your character's journal that they keep throughout this quest. So you could characterize it with traits that they might have. Maybe they stick leaves in there, or maybe they color on every single page. That's up to you because it's your character. Remembering that this is a shared story, I'm only giving you part of it. I'm just doing the very beginning, and you, or the very base level, and you are filling in all of those details. You're filling in the main character and those actions, their feelings and thoughts. So remember that we're kind of co-authoring this together. All right, let's recap what happened last time on Into the Dungeonverse. You met your Jedi contact and found out her name is Jara Khan. She tested you by having you do some acrobatic things, or maybe not, and then you got information from her future self through a hologram. You found the planet that you needed to go to was out on the fringe, a fringe planet, and you needed to get a ship to go there. So you found a hangar, and you needed to sneak onto the ship, and you had different options on ways that you could get onto the ship. You could choose, but eventually, whether you succeeded or failed, you did make your way onto the ship. And your situation on the ship kind of depends entirely on how you got in there, right? So if you were captured, they might be having you work, and you've got like a bracelet on that keeps you from going too far from certain areas. If you were invited on the ship, you're actually still working, but it's a little bit of a nicer situation. You get to talk to crew members and stuff. Excuse me. That was an impressively powerful sneeze. I apologize. I'm glad that I'm not around anyone right now. So, sorry, my sneeze totally made me lose my train of thought. Depending on how you got onto the ship is going to really affect your situation here. So how have you been spending time on this ship as you travel? Have you been forced to stay in the prisoners' quarters, just swabbing the deck here and there, getting half a croissant when they allow you to? Have you been kind of working with the crew members, mingling with them, getting to talk to them, or have you been sticking to the shadows, hiding in hidden compartments and darting around, just getting scraps of food? This is an opportunity where you get to tell your story. What has the past day and a half been like for your character? Has it been kind of nice? Has it been kind of furtive, intense? That's totally up to you, and what story you're trying to tell with your character. You're traveling for about a day and a half when eventually something different happens. You should be getting close to the planet. You felt yourself go into hyperdrive after a little bit of time, and you felt the ship move out. So you know that you should be arriving to your destination pretty soon. But that's when something happens. Of course something happens, right? You hear alarms start going off. All over the ship. This is all around you. So they have disabled up until this point, they've disabled your weapons. They let you keep them on them, but they just disabled them with an electrical pulse. Your lightsaber, you probably were able to hide because of how small it is, and they didn't really seem to be that intent on searching you, the crew did. So you're still armed, but your weapons don't work, at least your electronic ones. But an alarm is blaring. You're going to hear some explosions, like a collision as the ship shakes and rumbles. And you're going to hear the grinding and screeching of metal. Your ship is being attacked, and you can hear boots moving around all through the ship. You and Jara Khan are very likely together, and you're going to see, as all of this is happening, an intruder, a soldier, enters the room scanning for anyone that they might capture. They're wearing armor, they have a blaster, and they're looking around. This is your first challenge for today. What are you going to do as this soldier scans the area trying to find his targets? Are you going to fight him? Wave your hand and say something like Jara Khan did with the taxi driver? Or hide and attempt to get out of their line of sight? They appear to be well armed and well armored. They look intense. They might have some scars on their face. They don't look like Republic troopers. They look like thugs. Or he looks like a thug, at least. So are you going to fight him? Are you going to wave your hand and say something? See if you can replicate whatever Jara Khan did to the taxi driver. Or are you going to hide? Those are your options. Take a moment to consider, but if you haven't figured it out yet, go ahead and pause. We are going to move on to our difficulty and our result. So difficulty and result. This is a pretty tough individual. They look like they have been hardened by years of experience in service. Maybe not service, but experienced for sure. So if you fight him, this is a hard difficulty. It's actually going to be hard for each of these, but there is a chance for one of these to be a little bit easier for you depending on a previous skill. That's why I said it's important to mark those things down in your character sheet. So if you fight him and fail, you are going to lose 6 hit points and you are going to be captured. If you succeed though, you will knock him out. Perhaps you turned on the stun setting on your blaster, perhaps you hit him with an axe or a mace, something left over from one of your other adventures, or maybe you were given Heracles' club and you're going to use that. So that is, if you succeed, you will knock him out. So that's for fighting him. Next is waving your hand and saying something. If you fail, you're going to just wave your hand and he will stare at you before calling in for reinforcements, and you're going to see more troopers, like 5 or 6, come in all pointing blaster rifles in you and Jara Khan's direction. However, if you have force sensitivity level 2, only a few of you should have that, unless you all made that decision. in a previous episode. If you have force sensitivity level 2, that will be a medium difficulty rather than hard. So there's a benefit for one of your skills and for keeping track of it. And then finally, hiding. This is like finding a crate to hide in, sliding into a vent. I have a character in Star Wars that hides in vents all the time. So you can fail. If you fail, you are found and you are captured, just in the other scenario. If you succeed, he's going to leave and go back to his group and be like, huh, I guess nothing's in here. But we'll see if that's actually the end of that situation. So what did you do, and what was the result? Did you fight him? Did you wave your hand and say something? If you succeed, he will follow a simple command. So you can say something along the lines. If those of you who aren't familiar with the Jedi mind trick, you can have him say, there is nothing in this room, or there is nobody here. You're looking for someone else. And if you're successful, he'll follow that. It works on, as they say, I believe, like simple-minded people. So I guess if it works on him, then it might have been the situation. If it doesn't, then maybe not. So what did you do? What was your decision, and how did it work out? If you need some more time to roll and figure out what your result is and what that scene looked like, go ahead and pause it right here, and we're going to continue on with our story. Depending on your actions earlier will determine how you saw this earlier, or how you come across this next scene. Because as you get out into the main area of the ship, you can see that the ship has been totally taken over by whoever these people are. They're all wearing different kinds of armor, so there's not a particular uniform. You can tell that these people are probably criminals by the way things are patched together, and the way things don't really look like they all match each other at all. And not to mention they're just the way they hold themselves. It's pretty rough and tumble. And so you see they've boarded the ship. The captain and his crew have surrendered, and you're going to hear Jar Khan's voice. We cannot defeat them. We must surrender here. You're going to hear it in your head. Remember, she has spoken to you like that before. So depending on what happened earlier, maybe you came out and you were being led by the soldier who had captured you. Maybe you knocked him out and you came out, but you're totally surrounded. You won't be able to defeat them. We cannot allow them, she puts her hands up, to discover our lightsabers. Please follow my lead. They'll very likely take your other weapons, but for now we need to make sure they do not discover that we have lightsabers and that I am a Jedi. So you're going to see one of the guards bark, "Hey, get those two kids!" And they're going to run over to you. Who are you? Surrender! And you can put your hand up now. Jar Khan already has her hand up, and she says, "Watch me." And you're going to see her lightsaber. It is on her hip. They're like, "Check them for weapons." And you're going to see them start checking for weapons. You're going to see Jar Khan's lightsaber go whoop underneath her robe to her back, just as they're checking her sides. And then when they go around to check her back, you're going to see the lightsaber whoop, go back around and to the side. And it's going to keep avoiding wherever they are. Did you see? Do the same thing. And you're going to have to do this as they come up and they start searching you. You're going to have to use the Force to move this lightsaber around. And you have been practicing a little bit with Jar Khan. She's taught you a little bit. If you succeeded in one of your earlier missions, she started telling you about Ataru Striker method and other Jedi things. So this is something you can do. You can decide if your character's really good at it or if they're not that good. Maybe if you're not that good, it kind of tickles you and you laugh a little bit. But you will be able to keep your lightsaber hidden from these individuals. But they are going to capture you and your crew. And as you are being handcuffed by these electrical cuffs, you're going to see a very large figure slide in, maybe slither in. If you're familiar with the Star Wars universe, you're going to recognize the large slug-like silhouette of a Hutt. And you're going to hear them say, "Pataruta Hashino, take them to the races. Paranto Koretizula." And then everyone is going to laugh. You have no idea what he said. You and the crew members seem pretty nervous, probably, as this happens. And you are taken captive and brought down to the desert planet. your destination, the place where you were actually meant to go. Jara Khan says to you, quietly as you're cuffed and you're being moved on a transport, "The Force guides us. Even in our capture, we grow nearer to our destination. We must find the flow of the Force here. Remain calm." And she's going to seem very at peace, which is odd to you considering you only have like 2.5 days left to prevent her friend from turning into a supervillain, and you were just captured. Yet utter serenity seems to surround her as you travel on this ship. When you arrive on the planet, they take you immediately to what you can only assume is the prisoner's quarters. Perhaps it's because of the yellow text that is printed on it. Perhaps it's because there are lots of people who are cuffed. They're working, they're breaking rocks, they're working on machinery, or they're sleeping in what little shade they can find under the scorching desert sun. And now you are among them. Your weapons have been taken and stashed in a particular spot. They said that you can have these back when you need them, which seems pretty strange to say to people you just captured. But there was that mention of a race earlier. You can try to start gathering information from other prisoners as you are there. You're going to have some time where you're here with Jara Khan and spending all of this time doing, well, they're going to prepare you for the event, but they're going to also put you to work. They're going to ask that you break rocks, and they're going to ask that you move equipment from one end of the yard to the other. But eventually they will come and they will tell you that you are going to be used. After taking some tests on you, they're going to see that you are fit for the races. And they'll tell you more about that, or you can gather information from other prisoners there. You will have a chance to rest at some point, even though you will be put to work. You're going to see that Jara Khan continues to remain at peace while you're here, and she's going to spend, you're here for about a day before anything happens. She's going to spend some time working. You're going to see her like drenched in sweat, breaking rocks, and just saying, the Force will guide us. We need to be prepared. Just be ready to accept whatever might happen. The opportunity will present itself. I've gathered information from the other prisoners. There's a race, and I was able to keep my data pad. The race, I believe, is going to follow, and she's going to show you a racetrack, a course. We'll follow this, and our destination, she's going to illustrate on the map, is actually not that far from the last leg of the race. I believe that whatever this race is our opportunity. And so when the aliens, when an alien comes in, they're a large alien. They look like oh gosh, I can't remember their name from Star Wars. They have the almost slug-like head. They're not Hutts. I wish I could remember their name right now. But you see a strange alien walk in to brief you. Alright, some of you have been tested and you show aptitude, and you will be able to perform in the race. Not all of you will be able to. Some of you will continue breaking rocks. And then he's going to start calling off some numbers until you hear your number and Jara Khan's number. They'll pull you over to another room where they will tell you about this race. This is a race between multiple vehicles, and it is pretty intense. They say that you will start tomorrow in the grand race that is happening. They send you back to your quarters with very little other information, and you and Jara Khan are there to hatch your plan, your strategy, your tactics for this next leg of your adventure. So if you succeeded in beating Jara Khan in a race in a previous episode, she's going to use this opportunity to teach you a particular lightsaber method called Ataru Striker Method. This is very useful against other lightsaber wielding foes, and you might have an opportunity to use this later. So make sure you write that down, because that is in your file now. That is in your character sheet. You have that ability. She takes some time to teach you. Of course, you don't turn on your lightsabers. She teaches you with just a stick that she finds. You have a stick, she has a stick, and she goes through the forms and works with you. So that is available for you. But eventually, the day of the race comes. If you have taken damage at this point, mark yourself back up to full health because you did have a chance to rest and to sleep. They're going to walk you through the garage as they prepare you for the race. You see a whole variety of vehicles. There's some very large and hulking, others smaller and sleeker, more sleek. Like they're going to possibly be a little faster, but they definitely have less armor. So you see all different sorts of vehicles. You see different racers lined up. Some are prisoners like you. Others appear that they are private individuals who race of their own accord, perhaps for prize money. You're going to be racing for whoever captured you, which you believe is very likely the Hutts or a Hutt, since that was the person who came onto the ship. And they will assign you a vehicle, and you and Jar Khan will be put in. They're going to show you how to operate it. It's pretty simple, and it's pretty similar to a starship. And they're going to move you out to the area where the race is taking place. There's a large crowd already formed in the stands, and there's a single desert path that they lead you onto. You are currently underneath this very, very large archway. It's got screens up, and the screens are indicating like the stats or the information about the different drivers. You and Jar Khan are listed as unknowns. You're kind of lower on the chart. It looks like you might just be in here to fill the spaces. But you can see that all of these people have like weapons on their ships. Like some of them have blasters, some of them have like different like spear-like things. You see one has like a big chain with a saw blade on the end that they're swinging around in preparation. Everyone looks rough. Their ships look like they are. They've been through some battles here. So this looks pretty intense. The crowd is going wild as everyone is moving through this area, and you're finally lined up. You're going to see one individual vehicle. The crew is glaring at you. They don't seem to like the newcomers. And one of them is going to kick a javelin up into the air, grab it, and they're going to toss it really far in front of where everyone is. The crowd is going to cheer, and you're going to see it land and then detonate, exploding, leaving just a little bit of scorched sand there in front of you. And they look at you and point at you like that was a threat. The crowd seems to be going wild, like this is what they come here for. So you are getting ready to set off into a very intense race that's almost like a dogfight at the same time. You're going to be battling other cars and trying to get to the end. So Jar Khan says all we need to do is remain on the course until we're close to our destination. Then we need to break off without being captured by the enforcers. You can see that there are other vehicles that are following along to make sure that no one gets any ideas to escape and to leave in the middle of the race while they have a vehicle and weapons. Your weapons have been returned to you as well, and they are all primed and ready to be used if you need them during this combat. You're going to hear the announcer say, "And the race will be starting soon, folks, so get to your seats, make sure you have everything you need, and let us begin!" You're going to hear horns go off, and then the race has started. You immediately take off. Jar Khan is piloting. She's familiar with this type of device, and so you are left to defend your craft and to keep other people off. You're going to almost immediately, you see dust blowing up in multiple directions. It's a huge cloud that you have to work your way through. And very shortly after the dust clears, you're going to see that vehicle that the crew was glaring at you earlier. You're going to see them pull up beside you. And you can see the one that threw the javelin earlier. He's kind of like glaring at you, and then he chucks the javelin straight toward your vehicle. You are on the defense. You're the one protecting your vehicle. What do you do? Are you going to use your lightsaber to slice the javelin? Are you going to use your blaster to shoot down the javelin on its way over? Or are you going to use the force to move it out of the way and to prevent it from hitting you at all? You have three choices here on how to deal with this. You can use your lightsaber to slice it and prevent it from ever reaching you. You'll have to wait until it gets within lightsaber range. You're going to use your blaster to shoot it down and prevent it from getting to your vehicle. That you can do from a little bit further away. Or you can use the force to make sure it doesn't hit you at all. These devices look dangerous. The explosion you saw earlier was not small. Take a moment to consider, and also mark 3 out of 3 on your character sheet, because this is the hit points for your vehicle during this race. You and your vehicle have hit points just for this race. Alright, so make your considerations, using your lightsaber to defend, a blaster to shoot it down, or the force to just move it out of the way entirely. If you haven't made your decision yet, go ahead and pause here. We are moving on to the difficulty and results. Alright, difficulty and results. The lightsaber is a medium difficulty. It's not too hard to hit the javelin as it moves through the air. However, the javelin has an explosive attached to it. So as you slice through it, even if you're successful, it's going to explode, causing some damage to you. However, no vehicle damage will occur if you succeed. If you fail, you're going to lose 6 hit points as you're caught in the explosion, and you're going to have 1 vehicle damage as it also damages your vehicle. And that is a medium difficulty, so a little bit easier, but not the best decision here. Blasting the javelin in the air is hard, but that is going to give you the chance to prevent it from damaging your vehicle at all, because you can detonate it in the air. If you fail, it's going to hit your vehicle anyway, and you are going to take some damage. If you succeed, no damage to the vehicle, and the audience is going to cheer. You move forward as you're able to take that opportunity to move forward in the pack. So you have now kind of maybe not gained the front runner place, but you are moving up in the track. So people are kind of going wild. They're excited. No one seemed to react when you pulled out your lightsaber. If you did, probably because it was covered by the explosion in that previous decision. So that is hard. Then we have using the force. So if you decide to use the force and move the item, this is actually going to be a medium difficulty, because this isn't a very heavy object, and it's kind of the perfect opportunity for you to use that power. So if you fail, though, the vehicle is going to be hit. You're going to look really silly because you just hold out your hand and then nothing happens. So people are going to maybe laugh and boo. If you succeed, though, the javelin will be put into the ground. It'll miss its target, which was you, and you will. You're going to hear the crowd almost go silent as they just saw one of the contestants use the force. What? So that is if you succeed. They will see that. If you fail, people are just going to be laughing at your group as your vehicle takes damage. And the race has begun with already an attack. What is going to happen next time as we move forward? Will you be able to get through this race? Will you be able to get out of the race to prevent Zeldra from falling to the dark side? Your time is running out, and though Jara Khan seems calm and trusting of the Force, you may not be. So what's going to happen next time? Will you make it? Will you get through the race? Will you win the race? Probably not, because you need to leave. I guess you'll have to find out next time when you join us for the last part of our Star Wars quest. Thank you for being here today for our quest. I hope you enjoyed getting, well, I probably didn't enjoy getting captured, but I hope you enjoyed the beginning of your race and just another classic Star Wars element. Of course, our main characters always get captured in a Star Wars story. It happens in every trilogy, right? So I hope you enjoyed that. We will be continuing and concluding our Star Wars story tomorrow. That will be the very end of it all. Not the end of our interactive quest. We'll continue on to a new setting and a new adventure next week. But if you're really enjoying Star Wars, or you'd like to get more involved in the Star Wars role-playing element, we do have a weekly program now available online, hosted by Mr. Walter, where you can go back and forth with your game runner and create a true role-playing experience where you're getting to move tokens and you're getting to decide more than just 3 options, because when we're live and working with you, we're not limited to the decisions we can come up with beforehand. So I have information for that available in the description. If you want to check it out, please do. We'd love to have you there. It's going to be a very exciting time. So thank you for tuning in to some real inspired learning. Remember to always pursue your passion until it becomes your talent. Whatever your passion is, pursue it. It's yours, and it's a big part of you. Up next is Round the World with Mr. Walter, followed by The Steam Train with Mr. Dorian, and then we have a New Minds lesson from the Vault, followed up by The Close of Day with Mr. Ben, our CEO and captain of our starship, New Minds. So thank you for being here. If you want to check out any of our other episodes, they are here at newminds.tv, all available for you to watch whenever you want. So we will catch you tomorrow for the next quest. I hope you have an excellent day.